Hi friends, and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm doing a scrapbook layout, and my layout is going to be a recipe layout with 7 photos about strawberry cobbler, because our strawberry cobbler was in season in May and I'm still working through my May layouts. I wanted to do this, and I did it on purpose to actually document how to make the strawberry cobbler, but going across the page was not going to work with this large photo. So I have decided to do the layout where everything is kind of side by side on one sheet of the paper, and then I can make my strawberry cobbler and the recipe part of the magic of this layout. And I think this is just going to be wonderful because you can always flip back and see the recipe you used. I'm using the Maymay Made It Recipe Builder stamp set. I think this is great, and I'm going to use it for a lot of projects. It'll be a great accent on my scrapbook page. I'm also going to pull out some papers and decide what's going to go well with this layout. I love this one because it has a baking aspect to it. And so I do want to use this paper, but on the back of the paper are also other items that I may want to use. So I want to just figure out how much of this paper I want to use, what other paper I want to incorporate, like this Made with Love or Whisk It Away, great little accents that I can pull off to use as embellishments. So you just kind of want to see what goes well with your paper, the colors in your paper, what paper you want to save if you want to use the back side of the paper. You know, really think about all those items and play with your paper to determine exactly what looks good with your pictures when you're going to assemble your scrapbook page. And I really like to do this and just think about it for a little bit before starting. This is just a great tip to get your layout going. I got out my trusty Misty tool and a journaling box, actually from Becky Higgins' Project Life, and I'm going to use that to make the ingredients list. So that will be separate from the actual recipe card. I just kind of wanted to do that for the fun of it. And I'm going to use my Memento black ink to stamp this down. I love this ink, it's so versatile. And that way I'll be able to put my ingredients down. Now I've slowed this down to show you how I'm going to use the Misty to make my recipe card. I really do think you need a Misty. One, because you need to get a good impression of the lines to make your recipe card. And what I have cut here is a half of an 8.5 by 11 sheet is what I am working with. But you see how you don't get all the lines, so you want to make sure you get the lines down really well, and that's where this Misty comes in handy. It's also going to come in handy because I am going to want more than just the lines that I currently have on the recipe card. And I have my recipe over here on the side that I made this cobbler with on the internet. So I'm going to clean this off really good, and then I want to use it to reposition it in my Misty. Something else I could not do with a clear stamp. So I'm going to line this up so that some of the lines are the bottom couple of lines are going to be re-stamped so it's all straight and down the page. This is why I slowed this down so you could see it, and you can get it in there just so to make your recipe card, because there's a lot of instructions for this recipe and I want to make sure to include all of them. And I wanted you to see how I made the recipe card a little bit longer. Again, the lines are not dark enough for me, and I will again re-ink the stamp and stamp it down to get that good impression for that recipe card. So I like how those lines turned out. Now I'll clean off the MISTI and we will get started on the next part of the recipe card. I have the word recipe and some bowls to go down on the side, and I put that in my stamp positioner here so that I could get a good impression, and I like how that turned out. So that's going to be a great way to add to my scrapbook layout. Off camera, I pre-wrote out my instructions for the recipe. I also did that for my ingredients. I love the curved edges. I'm going to mimic that with the recipe card, but first I need to cut off some of these extra lines. I wanted to make sure I had plenty of room to write, and then this is just a quick way to throw it in my Tim Holtz trimmer and trim off the lines so that I can turn this into a nice recipe card. And so I'll just figure out where that edge is and cut it, and that's perfect. There is my recipe card. I'm going to get out my envelope maker, but I'm just going to use it to punch the curve at the top. So you can use this and it has that same curve, and I'll do all 4 sides this way. So this is another way to use your envelope punch, not to make an envelope. And I like to use my craft supplies that way if possible. And so here's my recipe card and my ingredients card for my layout. And I think I'll be coloring those bowls. Off camera, I ended up adding a different color instead of the blue, if you remember. I chose this dark red because I think it looks good with the pattern paper as well as the strawberries. It brings those out, and we're making strawberry cobblers, so that just made sense to me. And I wanted to make sure I incorporate the same paper on each side of the page. So I am just going through here and putting my photos in the order as how I made the strawberry cobbler. And I think this is a great way to, pass down recipes to generations too. I have my ingredients card that I'm going to put up here and my recipe card. And I think that just really makes a cute layout. I know some people love to see how you put your scrapbook page together. If you're not interested, you can skip to the next chapter. I also pulled out some embellishment for my What's Cooking collection, and I'm going to be adding those to the page. I'll have some music and you can sit back and watch me assemble the page. This is a mono adhesive eraser, and where I got the ink on the page, I can just erase that away, and it's a great little saving tool for cards and scrapbooking, especially after you've done all this work. I really love how this scrapbook page has come together. I love the fact that in future years someone will see the layout with the strawberry cobbler and they may want to recreate it, and they will have the pictures, they will have the recipe, and I just think that is absolutely wonderful. If you like this, consider giving it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing too. I do scrapbooking, card making, organization tips, and even sneak peeks of products. I like to be honest and give you economical ways to think outside the box to do your crafting. I hope that you did enjoy this, and if you like the layout, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I'll see you next time, and here's a suggestion from YouTube. Have a great day.